Have you ever held a piece of paper in your hand that you knew was a grenade, ready to blow your entire life apart? For me, it wasn't a secret government file or a winning lottery ticket. It was a receipt. A flimsy thermal-printed receipt from a restaurant called Alinea in Chicago, dated last Tuesday night. Total was for 2 tasting menus and a bottle of wine I couldn't afford. I found it tucked inside the pocket of the dry cleaning she'd just brought home. The problem was, last Tuesday, my wife Sarah was supposedly working late, eating a sad desk salad under the fluorescent lights of her law firm in the Loop. At least that's what she'd texted me. The receipt in my trembling hand told a very, very different story, and as I stood there in our quiet condo overlooking Millennium Park, the city lights twinkling like a million indifferent stars, I realized I wasn't just holding a piece of paper. I was holding the evidence of my own destruction. If you genuinely enjoy our stories, please subscribe to the channel. Tell us where you're from and what time it is right now. It's always fascinating to know how far our story flows. The humiliation hit me first, a cold wave that started in my gut and washed over me until my skin felt like ice. Sarah and I had been married for 7 years. We were that couple, the one our friends pointed to as making it work in a big city. We'd built a life from nothing, from a tiny apartment in Lincoln Park to this glass-walled condo we were so proud of. I'd supported her through law school, working 2 jobs so she could focus. I was the loyal, steady husband, the rock, and she was the brilliant, ambitious star. But lately, the star had been dimming. The working late nights became more frequent. Her phone, once left carelessly on the kitchen counter, was now always screened down, clutched in her hand like a lifeline. When I'd try to hug her, she'd stiffen, a subtle, almost imperceptible pulling away that felt like 1,000 tiny cuts. She and her new work friend Mark were suddenly inseparable. Their inside jokes and shared glances at company parties making me feel like an outsider in my own life. I thought they were untouchable, wrapped in the bubble of their shared secret. The night I found the receipt was the night I broke. I sank onto our expensive leather sofa, the city skyline a blur through my tears. The man who had been a rock crumbled. The pain was a physical thing, a pressure in my chest so intense I thought my heart would actually give out. But then something else rose from the ashes of my grief. It was cold, it was quiet, and it was sharp as a shard of glass. It was rage. A calculated, patient rage. She had mistaken my loyalty for weakness. He had mistaken my kindness for stupidity. They were both about to learn how wrong they were. My breakdown was over. The strategic part of my mind, the part I used to build my own successful consulting business, word to life. Go. The game was on. I didn't confront her. Instead, I became an actor. I was the loving, slightly oblivious husband. Made her coffee in the morning. I asked about her day. All the while I was gathering my arsenal. I hired a private investigator, a grizzled ex-cop who operated out of a dusty office on the South Side. His photos were my new scripture, pictures of Sarah and Mark kissing in a hotel parking garage in River. North, holding hands across a table at that same fancy restaurant, entering a boutique hotel on a Wednesday afternoon. I installed a keylogger on her personal laptop. The transcripts of their chats were sickeningly sweet and brutally cruel, mocking me, my habits, my love for her. They called me the warden. I saved every photo, every text, every email to a secure, encrypted hard drive. I contacted a shark of a divorce attorney, a woman whose reputation was legendary in the Cook County courthouse. We didn't just plan a divorce. We planned an ambush. I discovered that Sarah had been using our joint savings account to fund their little getaways, a clear violation of our financial agreements. My lawyer's eyes lit up. That was the legal nail in her coffin. The public exposure had to be perfect. Sarah was on the cusp of being made a junior partner at her firm. They were having a large celebratory gala at the Drake Hotel on Michigan Avenue. It was the biggest night of her professional life. I made sure to be the perfect, supportive husband right up until the moment we walked in. I smiled. I held her hand and I watched as her boss, a man she deeply respected, took the stage to announce the new partners. As he said her name, a single high-definition photo flashed onto the massive screen behind him. It was one of the PI's best shots, Sarah and Mark locked in a passionate kiss. The sign for the Thompson Chicago Hotel glowing softly behind them. A collective gasp sucked the air out of the ballroom. I saw Sarah's face, the color draining from it, her triumphant smile frozen into a mask of horror. Her boss stopped mid-sentence. Mark, standing near the bar, looked like he'd seen a ghost before, practically sprinting out of the room. I didn't stay to watch the fallout. I just turned and walked away. The next day, I filed for divorce. The prenup I'd insisted on, the one she'd laughed at, held up protecting my business and my assets. She was left with nothing but the designer clothes she stood in and the public shame that now clung to her like a second skin. I sold the condo. I moved to a quiet neighborhood on the North Shore, far from the city lights that now felt tainted. Sometimes late at night, I look at the final photo the Pi sent me. It's of her, months later, sitting alone at a cheap diner, staring into a cup of coffee. The arrogance is gone. The fire is out. There's nothing left but a hollow shell. I don't feel triumph or even satisfaction. I just feel quiet. The grenade went off, and I was the one who pulled the pin.